Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're tackling a hurdle that, let's be honest, pretty much every aviation professional faces at some point, the dreaded ICAO language assessment. So, you've hit level 4. You can fly the plane, you understand ATC, and you communicate safely. But for a lot of us, level 4 is really just a stepping stone. You want stronger confidence, you want fewer headaches during license renewals, and you want the ability to handle absolute chaos on the radio with total clarity. So today, we are mapping out the exact steps to move from that basic operational level 4 right up to the expert natural communication of levels 5 and 6. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the Rote Memorization Trap, plain English for emergencies, a 4-step picture framework, fluency and discourse markers, mastering examiner role plays, and finally, thinking directly in English. Let's get started. Section 1. The Rote Memorization Trap. When test anxiety hits, our first instinct is totally just to fall back on rehearsed scripts, right? But examiners, they spot this instantly. Take a look at this comparison. On the left, you've got a typical level 4 answer to a radio failure question. He should follow the procedure and land. Is it technically correct? Well, yes. But look on the right. In case of radio failure, the pilot should first try to reestablish communication, check the frequency, volume, and follow the published procedure. See the difference there? The right side uses full structured sentences to provide detailed, undeniable evidence of your actual skills.
Think of it like this. Getting straight to the point? It isn't always the best strategy in a language test. Why? Because short answers actually limit your score. You really have to open up your linguistic toolkit. Examiners simply cannot assess the vocabulary, the grammar, and the fluency that you keep hidden away. You have to give them the material to grade you on.
All right, Section 2. Plain English for emergencies. Now, this is arguably the single biggest challenge pilots face in these assessments, shifting gears away from standard phraseology. Obviously, standard phrases like Mayday, Mayday, Mayday are absolutely critical. But what happens next? If you only rely on phraseology, you actually can't explain why you're calling Mayday. Notice the text on the right. We have a passenger on board who is unconscious and needs urgent medical assistance after landing. That descriptive, plain English, that's exactly what saves lives when things go totally off script. Think about these non-routine scenarios. Engine malfunction, smoke in the cockpit, unruly passengers, severe weather deviations. These aren't just hypotheticals for a test. They are high-stakes realities. Mastering plain English vocabulary for these exact situations proves to the examiner, and frankly to your crew, that you can manage communication when the manual doesn't have a pre-written phrase for your specific problem. Moving on to Section 3, the 4-step picture framework.
Okay, so in part 3 of most exams, describing an image is, well, notoriously stressful. But instead of panicking, you can use this foolproof mental safety net. Don't memorize answers, memorize this framework. Step 1, describe the situation. Step 2, explain the risk. Step 3, state the action. And Step 4, explain the expected result. This exact flow pretty much guarantees a logical, comprehensive narrative right on the spot every single time.
Let's actually see how this plays out in a practical scenario. Imagine you're sitting there, and the examiner slides an image of an aircraft in front of you and asks you to describe a potential hazard, like, say, a possible bird strike right after takeoff. How do we apply our framework?
Boom. Just like that, you generate something like this. The situation involves a possible bird strike. The main risk is engine damage. The crew should monitor instruments. Returning for a precautionary landing would be the safest option. See how elegantly that covers all 4 steps? You've provided this organized, structured answer that proves your vocabulary, your grammar, and your logical flow, literally checking every single box for the examiner without even stumbling.
Section 4. Fluency and discourse markers.
A lot of people think fluency just equals speaking incredibly fast. It really doesn't. True fluency relies on a bit of a secret weapon, discourse markers. Words and phrases like actually, basically, nevertheless, or on the other hand. When you're trying to think of your next point, dropping in one of these markers bridges your ideas completely naturally. It eliminates those distracting ums and ahs and makes you sound professional, measured, and in total control of the language.
All right, Section 5, Mastering Examiner Role Plays. This is the interactive part of the exam, where your strategic competence, your actual ability to manage a real-time dialogue is truly put to the test. Consider everyday phrases like, say again, or confirm you said. We really need to completely destigmatize asking for clarification here. So many test takers think that if they don't understand the examiner immediately, asking for help means they've failed. Absolutely not. Asking for clarification is a hallmark of safe professional interaction.
Because the absolutely crucial point here is this: silence does not indicate comprehension. In the real world of aviation, guessing what ATC just said is, frankly, incredibly dangerous. The examiners will intentionally introduce unexpected turns of events just to see how you handle it. Resolving those misunderstandings by checking, confirming, and clarifying is exactly what examiners want to see to score you at that level 5 or 6.
And finally, Section 6, thinking directly in English. Let me ask you a very direct question. Are you translating word by word in your head? You know the drill. You hear the English, translate it to your native language, formulate your response, and then translate it back to English before you even open your mouth. This mental gymnastics routine, it creates unnatural sentences, incredibly slow response times, and totally drains your mental bandwidth.
So to break this habit, you need to practice direct sentence starters. Try phrases like, the main risk is, the pilot should inform ATC because, or, in my opinion, the safest option would be. By practicing these starters directly in English, they literally become automatic verbal reflexes. When the pressure is on, you don't have to translate. The structure is already right there waiting for you.
To summarize our core takeaway for today, real proficiency, it's not about perfectly memorized scripts. It is all about building flexible automatic communication reflexes. It's knowing exactly how to structure your thoughts, using plain English when standard phraseology falls short, and confidently managing the interaction.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to ditch the scripts and step into the cockpit of natural, spontaneous communication? Take these frameworks, practice those discourse markers, and really stop fearing the unexpected. Start practicing directly in English today, and you will absolutely dominate your next ICAO assessment. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.